Today on Hearts of Heroes, Claws and Jaws.
Initially, I was like, you're gonna die.
A hiker is attacked by an enormous grizzly bear.
She had picked me up from my right leg, and I was like dangling in the air out of her mouth. My initial response was, ooh, she just cracked your head open.
Plus, a vicious alligator attack.
When the attack happened, I just knew what it was.
And it's all caught on film.
It was a very clear message. Get out of the gator's mouth.
Strength, dedication, and commitment are the cornerstones of what truly defines a hero.
Our national forests provide hikers and adventurers with the chance to immerse themselves in the breathtaking beauty of nature. However, these expansive areas are also home to potentially dangerous wildlife.
And in Grand Teton National Park, that includes grizzly bears, as one hiker found out the hard way.
Located in western Wyoming, Grand Teton is the third largest national forest in the lower 48.
It's an area where folks are able to see deer, elk, coyotes, bird species, and then, of course, the larger, more carnivorous species like black bears, grizzly bears, wolves, wolverines.
There's a grizzly, one of approximately 1,000 in this national park.
In May of 2024, newlyweds Shane and Chloe Burke decided to spend their honeymoon touring national parks across the country.
Shane and I really bonded over our mutual love for the great outdoors. And this trip, our honeymoon actually, was a way to visit national parks that we haven't visited before.
We really wanted to make it like a long trip where we could drive and take our dog with us, just kind of see the country together.
Knowing the potential danger of encountering a bear, Shane, an Army veteran, and Chloe, a trained EMT, made sure that they were prepared.
There is a lot of information that folks can educate themselves on before they even arrive. Bear spray is always a very good piece of equipment to have with you. Know how to use it. Hiking in pairs is always a good idea. Standard conversation, a little bit of noise, just to let those bears know that you're on your way.
On the last leg of their trip, Shane and Chloe ended up at Teton National Park, where Shane was hoping to capture a photo of the elusive great gray owl.
I am a very big bird nerd. It's just a large species owl that's just not found where I'm from. It's one of the few owl species I've yet to see that are native to North America.
In the late afternoon, Shane, Chloe, and their dog Cadence set out on a short hike in hopes of snapping a shot of the owl.
We weren't planning on being away from the car long, so I only brought the dog leash and my can of bear spray.
We walked up about 3/4 of a mile. That's when our dog was kind of getting hot. Chloe didn't have any water with her, so she's like, I'm gonna turn around.
I figured it would be a good opportunity for me to turn back to the car so that Shane could hopefully spot this bird without being interrupted by a dog and wife.
After an hour of hiking, Shane didn't spot an owl, but he did see something much more unsettling.
I just saw this cub sprinting up this hill that was directly in front of me. And the moment I saw it, like, it was just an instant gut-wrenching stomach drop.
He instantly knew that if there was a cub, the mother bear couldn't be far away.
I grabbed my bear spray, and as I'm walking backwards, I look down to pop the safety off the bear spray. That's when I kind of looked up and heard and saw the 400-pound grizzly sow, just like a freight train coming at me. And in that moment, I just started kind of yelling at the bear, and she was already on top of me and just started biting me. In that moment, the best thing I could do for myself is to just be quiet and remain on the ground, stomach and chest on the ground. But when a 400-pound bear is standing on top of you and crushing you and biting you, it's really hard to stay quiet. It almost just felt like putting parts of my body in a vice grip with just really sharp teeth. There was one point where she had picked me up from my right leg, and I was like dangling in the air out of her mouth, and she just was slamming me on the ground. And that's when I let out this blood-curdling scream, and she just drops me, steps on my back, and then went to bite my head.
Coming up,
She goes in for this bite, and then I hear this pop. And my initial response was like, ooh, you just cracked your head open.
but first, a tip on how to be emergency ready. Being out in the wilderness can pose its own unique dangers, but we often face emergencies much closer to home, and it's important to know what to do.
While we hope to never face a neighborhood fire, it's sometimes unavoidable. And if we do, each of us has a vital duty to quickly alert first responders to ensure that everyone stays safe.
If you come across a fire, don't assume that someone else has already reported it. A redundant call is better than no call. Additionally, you may be able to provide the dispatcher with extra information that could make a crucial difference.
Remember, when it comes to fires, your timely tip-off can make all the difference. If you see a blaze, dial right away and don't delay.
Shane Burke was hiking alone in Wyoming's Teton National Park. After unknowingly coming close to a grizzly bear cub, its protective mother attacked. Now he was in a fight for his life.
I was like, you're gonna die. I really thought I was gonna die. I just thought about my family, and I didn't want to put them through that. I knew I had to stay in the fight as much as possible. I just tried to keep her from flipping me over and exposing any soft organs. And so when I felt how close she was and like felt her breath literally like the back of my ears, and thankfully I had my hands and arms behind my neck. And by the grace of the universe, still was holding on to that bear spray. She goes in for this bite, and then I hear this pop. And my initial response was like, ooh, she just cracked your head open. And I also felt like this warm, burning sensation starting to flow down my cheeks.
But Shane was in for another shock.
Unbeknownst to me, that was the bear spray that popped and leaked its content all over me, but also in the bear's mouth. The bear bit into the can and obviously into her mouth, which is what disengaged the attack. She just ran, and I just heard her like huffing and puffing, and really just like the thump, thump, thump of her paws on the ground.
The attack took place roughly a mile from the parking lot. A badly injured Shane had the foresight to run close to another 150 yards in the opposite direction, just to create distance between he and the angry bear.
But he was now further from the road and deeper in the woods.
It was pure adrenaline. I saw her run in one direction, and I just had the pure instinct to run in the opposite direction, which unfortunately was further away from rescue. But fortunately, it put me in a position where I gained cell service and I could make that phone call to Chloe. And realistically, I thought that was the last time I was going to talk to my wife.
When I saw my phone ringing, I thought he was just calling me to let me know that he's been delayed. When I picked up the phone, I believe his exact words were, I was attacked by a grizzly bear. Shane's typically a very reserved person, and to hear the fear in his voice, it was really hard to hear him be that scared. It really struck a chord in me to not be able to go to him in the moment.
Nonetheless, Chloe's EMT training kicked in.
My mind went to, where's your first aid kit? Unfortunately, because this was such a short excursion from the car, he hadn't brought one that day. So I said, use what's on you, you can do this. And basically that he needs to keep himself alive until help can get to him, and that he needs to stop bleeding. It was terrifying hanging up the phone with him. I just had to completely put my faith in the fact that he's gonna be found. They're gonna take care of him, they're gonna get him out of there. And it was really scary.
I hung up with her, she called 911. I found a safe place, and then I started just cutting straps off of my equipment to make improvised tourniquets.
Meanwhile, Chloe's 911 call was dispatched to park rangers, who set out on foot. But they didn't know exactly where Shane was, and his GPS wasn't transmitting. So they sent a helicopter up to look for Shane. After almost 2 hours of searching, rescuers still hadn't found Shane. Then, suddenly, his luck changed.
I was on the phone with the operator. I saw the helicopter very, very far away, and I told the operator, I was like, tell the helicopter to stop.
Coming up, Rangers fight to save Shane's life.
They had to stop me from bleeding, and that was incredibly painful.
But first, here are a few ways that you can support and assist the heroic first responders on the front lines.
Disasters can strike anytime, anywhere. Recovering and rebuilding a community requires more than just first responders. It takes the collective resilience of everyone to truly bounce back and rebuild.
In disaster-stricken areas, we frequently depend on the support of volunteers to lend a helping hand. Consider stepping up by volunteering with a local disaster relief program to assist those in need. Visit online resources or check with your local city hall or fire department to discover volunteer opportunities and find out how you can make a meaningful impact.
Whether you're lending a hand in recovery efforts, sorting supplies at a food bank, or helping out at a storm shelter, your volunteer hours can truly transform lives. Dive in and discover the power of your support. It's more impactful than you might ever imagine. Army veteran Shane Burke had survived a brutal bear attack. He was lucky to have survived.
But now, Rangers would have to get him down the mountain. He needed urgent medical attention for his life-threatening injuries.
While waiting for Rangers to arrive, Shane spotted the rescue helicopter.
And so I just started low crawling on the ground. And as I'm doing that, I made it about like 8 feet, and then I hear my name being called.
The helicopter radioed Shane's exact location to Rangers on the ground.
They just started packing all my wounds with gauze. They did tell me that my improvised tourniquets actually were pretty good. I was really thrilled to hear that because in the military, it's something we practice.
This is what stopped the bleeding, and a big concern that we had was other internal injuries that we didn't know about.
Getting Shane down to safety would be no easy task, but neither he nor the Rangers were ready to give up.
It utilized a helicopter with a rescuer who is attached to the bottom of the helicopter via a rope in order to extract Shane from the heavy timber, tall trees where he was located to an area where we had an ambulance waiting.
Once in the ambulance, Shane's wife, Chloe, rushed to his side.
I just kind of looked at her and I was like, please don't cry. I'm okay.
There was just a tremendous relief of thinking like, okay, we're gonna make it.
Once in the hospital, the newlyweds learned the extent of Shane's injuries.
She bit me on the shoulder. She bit me up through my lat and down through my trap. She broke my shoulder. She bit up and down both my legs a number of times, picking me up, throwing me. And then with the final bite that was most likely meant for my spine or my back of my head, my hands took that trauma, and so she lacerated my right hand pretty bad.
After 3 days in the hospital, Shane was released.
I remember seeing his eyes and how vivid they looked, and just thinking to myself like how much I'd miss just being able to look into his eyes.
Sheldon Yellett of our sponsor, Belfour Property Restoration, recently brought Shane and Chloe back to Grand Teton to reunite with his rescuers and to present him with a special gift.
Shane, here we are in Wyoming, where it all happened. Attacked by a grizzly. You've been through a lot. You survived Iraq. You survived a grizzly attack. What does it feel like to be back here?
Just really thankful to be here right now, and thank you so much. Probably one of the scariest days of my life, and y'all just made it a little bit easier, and just can't thank you enough. They're incredible people, incredibly talented, selfless, and just really thankful for their service and what they did for me that day.
Shane, I want you to know that from all of us here at Hearts of Heroes at Belfour, we're so grateful for your service to our country, and we're grateful that you're here with us today. So we've taken the liberty of putting a little shadow box together for you with your medals, your hat while in service, and your flag, the country that you fought to defend. Thank you, Shane.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that's my hat. Do you take that?
Yeah. She took it.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It means a lot.
It's a rare opportunity that we have to actually connect with folks afterwards. So to see them come on back to Grand Teton has been a pretty special moment. I hope that they're able to get out and explore the park while they're here for sure.
I am so looking forward to getting back into the great outdoors. It's been hard having my adventure partner kind of out of commission, but I know that once we get back out there, it's going to be better than ever. We're going to bring bear spray.
Coming up, he came to train, but an alligator had other plans.
When the attack happened, it felt like jogging headfirst into a brick wall.
He had a large gash down the side of his face.
I told my oldest son to start calling 911.
Florida has a ton of lakes and channels, and they're ideal for all types of water sports. But these aquatic playgrounds are also home to some dangerous creatures, like alligators.
One man from Tampa found out how menacing these waterways can be when he literally came face to face with a giant reptile.
The city of Tampa is on the central Gulf Coast of Florida. It's home to J.C. Laverde, who has been a firefighter and paramedic since the age of 19. On the afternoon of August 3rd, 2022, JC was heading to Lake Thonotasa, 15 miles outside of Tampa. There, he would film a triathlon instructional video for his adventure company.
It was a multi-stage time segment triathlon.
JC had hired a drone operator to capture his swim.
I wanted to be very specific and record how the event went.
He hit the lake and started to swim. JC was not aware of the predator's habitat that he was diving into.
This lake is absolutely infested with alligators.
It was a quick jolt. It felt like jogging headfirst into a brick wall.
JC quickly realized that his head was inside the mouth of a gator.
I remember very clearly grabbing the teeth with both hands, then open it.
The force of the bite was crushing JC's skull. JC fought back with all his might, and he managed to pry open the alligator's jaw.
The next time that I looked up, I was no longer in its mouth. So I'm like, all right, well, I gotta get out of here, because more than likely it's gonna try to figure out how to get back to me. For me, it was almost like a very clear message: swim to safety.
As a trained first responder, JC knew his best chance for survival was to remain calm. JC climbed onto a dock and into a neighboring yard.
I saw a man struggling to open the gate.
He had a large gash down the side of his face.
And he said to get my mom.
I could tell it was hard for him to talk. I told my oldest son to start calling 911.
911, what is your emergency?
I didn't know if he was gonna make it.
This brave family did their best to keep the bleeding and badly injured JC alert as they rushed him to an awaiting ambulance. He was transferred to a trauma unit where he underwent a 6-hour surgery.
My right side of my skull was crushed, and the teeth penetrated my right frontal lobe. My jaw was dislocated on both of its hinges and cracked in 2 areas in the center.
I just remember him saying, "Christine, be strong, be strong." And from there, I just kind of put myself together as best as I could.
As a first responder, JC Laverde had no idea that he would be on the receiving end of a rescue. On this day, he and his wife Christine returned to his home base to reconnect to his dedicated colleagues.
Hollywood, here we go.
The reason that I'm here is not really just for me. It's kind of just to appreciate the department as a whole and, you know, the heroes that you guys are. So, yeah.
He's a survivor. He's a walking miracle. He's just inspirational, truly.
The whole attack is a miracle for me to survive. Either I was David and Goliath, or I was let free by a dinosaur just because I wasn't there to be eaten. I was there to be let go and go on with my day.
There's a remarkable strength in the human spirit. an unbreakable resolve to endure and overcome nearly any challenge.
When confronted with seemingly insurmountable challenges, it's reassuring to know that we stand shoulder to shoulder with our brave first responders. We really appreciate you joining us today.
And we look forward to seeing you next time on Hearts of Heroes.